Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Milan Coast to Coast. It's Marcello, aka Presidente, here, and I'm glad to talk today with a good friend of mine, a true Milanista at heart. He's been a friend of the channel and our Milan club for such a long time. I'd like to welcome him soon. I just wanted to say a few things before I welcome our special guest. In regards to the podcast, please subscribe to the channel, share our content. It's a nice way of feeling the love from our fans. And at the same time, we want to keep growing our channel and show that we have a voice on the other side of the ocean. I know Milan is in Italy, and in Italy, soccer is a religion. However, we also have a voice on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. And it's important that we grow our voice because the English community of Milan fans all over the world is very, very important. So I'm just going to play a quick intro and then I'll welcome our special guest.
Milan Weekly Podcast presents Milan Coast to Coast with your host Gio and Fabio.
Benvenuti nella casa
And I'm glad and honored to welcome Alessandro Jacobone, who's a Milan community coordinator to the podcast. Benvenuto, Alessandro. How are you, my friend?
Okay, thank you for the call, for the request to be part of your podcast. For me, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. You're a old friend. You're a very good red and white and black like heart. So I
Yes.
recognize who has like this the same vibe of me.
Mhm.
So we are brother of vibes in this case, and I'm very glad to see you again after. The first experience that we had with the first channels the
Yes.
first lives when the
Yeah.
people were still discovering this kind of way to talk between, as you said, the two sides of the world, but
Yes.
with the common colors that are red and black, and that's the most important thing that
Yeah.
put us in the same level. So it's a pleasure to talk to you and to your followers from Canada, and of course, all the American countries.
Yeah, perfect. So, Alessandro, we had such a hard year this year as Milan fans. It was way below expectations. I never would have thought we would have finished in eighth place. I didn't think we were good enough to win the Scudetto, but to battle for the top four, I thought we did have a chance. It wasn't going to be easy. You know, didn't think we were really strong with our roster, but at least we were going to be competitive. So I want to revisit the season, but also take two steps back. I want to go back to when Maldini was with Milan. As you can see, he's my idol. I'm wearing this T-shirt from Vintage Pitch, which is a project done by our Vice President Stevie P. He's gonna relaunch something soon, and I'm looking forward to it. He comes up with these really creative T-shirts. So as you can see, there's Maldini number 3, Capitano. So he's been my idol. So I'm gonna
That's
be
an American style with the number of the in front,
that's it exactly. So
American football,
yeah, so I'll admit right away I'm biased with what I'm saying because Maldini is my idol. However, he's not perfect, just like nobody's perfect. Did he make mistakes? Of course he did. But the reason I wanted to go back is because I'm seeing a contradiction in terms of how the new ownership is operating versus what they want to do in terms of risk management and some of the decisions that they've made. So let's just take a step. So Maldini was working with Massara, and they were the architects of when we won the Scudetto in 2022, which for me was a beautiful Scudetto because it was unexpected, and we won it literally on the last day of the Campionato. And I still look back, we were celebrating here. It was a lot of fun. It was totally unexpected. So we were on the right track. We finally won. I think when was the last? It was 11 years, right, Alessandro? Since our
Yep.
previous one. Yeah, so we had that whole banter era. We had all that mess with Berlusconi left us with. So look, we're on the right track. So I have a hard time understanding where you finally do things, you get the Scudetto, the enthusiasm and is back. You saw all the celebrations in Milano. I remember that week after the Scudetto, I spent half my day looking at videos and photographs. It was such an amazing feeling, but it ended abruptly because right away Maldini was putting the brakes on certain things because he was upset regarding his renewal. So we knew right then there was a bit of friction going on. So I wanted to know from you, why do you think that was? My theory is there were times Maldini was outspoken. He had interviews kind of questioning the ambitions and the type of investment of the ownership, and his views of how to grow the club were probably not the same as the owner. And I think the divorce was inevitable for that reason, because in order for a partnership to work, the owner and the employees have to be in the same direction. And it seemed right there was a conflict. And the fact they took so long to renew his mandate, because Maldini did say in an interview they couldn't have fired him that summer. He just won the Scudetto. Maybe the owner was saying, yeah, it's going to look bad if we do it. So, what's your theory on how do you go from winning the Scudetto? You have Maldini, who's a legend of the club, who bleeds red and black like we do. And right away, there's like sort of a different viewpoint, and you don't want to already continue with him having just one. What's your theory on all this?
Yeah, my friend, honestly, after 2 years, I think that the picture is basically clear to all. I mean, they wanted to fire, to choose another management to manage AC Milan with a new strategy, new not for AC Milan, new for entire soccer world, having like this group of managers, no one specialized in a sportive direction, but open to other skills and everything, working together, and blah blah blah. All the things that they they sold as an idea. And when you sell an idea and it's the first time that you propose something, there is not like a benchmark that you can do saying, come on, you can not do that. So at least you can say, okay, you are the new ownership. This is just also to justify the not overreaction to the Paolo Maldini's leaving. I mean, in that moment, the message was trust to us. We know what we are doing. Unfortunately, it doesn't match with the vision of Paolo. Our vision is different. Instead, to have friction inside, is better to separate our ways. And in that case, it's good when there is no friction inside. But to avoid the friction, after 2 years, and that means after that we saw the result of their theory, there is no friction, but there is no competence. There is no right manager with the right skills. The problem of the management of the gruppo di lavoro, as they call, is that all of them they have a potential. All of them they could be in the future a good manager, but all of them they should need someone that teach them what to do, and no one of them has someone that could teach to them what to do. That's the collapse, the most important problem of the last season. Now, with the changing of vision, calling Iglitare as a sport director, having Allegri that is not we say in Italy, exotic name. If you consider that he's been kicked out from AC Milan with the fans that they were celebrating it the 8th Champions League, So, and now they celebrate that he's coming back because we need this kind of antibiotic, So the things that they are changing, everything included mostly of the part of the team, the players, means that they understood that they got wrong with that theory, with the idea. So probably, I'm not sure that they could regret that they kicked out like Maldini, but probably they understood that even with these mistakes, because he did a lot of mistakes, Origi, and many players, but it was like the glue that he was keeping all the parts together. Honestly, it's not a coincidence that after he's leaving, some of our players they start to don't be the same at the same level. Teo Hernandez, Magnan, that if you remember, Magnan was the one that put in the Instagram, say, what are you doing, Milan? Just like an interrogative point on the news of the sacking of Maldini. Teo Hernandez was his son, in that case. I mean, also Tomori, all the our best players in the Scudetto season, they started to don't performance like before, and because as we said so many times, and also asking to Ibra during the presentation, his presentation, the question was on my colleague Martin Sartorio that asked, I was pushing him to ask, what do you think to do when Kier and Giroud are living together this season? How can you, how do you think to switch, And Ibrahimovic said, no need to put experience on the field because there is Paulo Fonseca. All the things that is happening in that season in the field, in front of the mic, in front of the media, in front of the supporters, it's been a mess. Now I hope that they understood. I hope that they also understood that they did a mistake. I mean, I'm a Paolo Maldini fan because everyone has that loves this color cannot do anything else than respect Paolo Maldini. But I'm not extremist, I'm not like Taliban. I mean, I know that we can survive even after Maldini. That's why I was saying if they were not matching with ideas, it's better that, to separate the ways. But at this point, let me say that they understood as well, they got wrong. Because in one way or in another way, with a team that was less strong, with the quality of the players less strong of this one, but was a team. Was a team. And, the tears of Massara, I don't remember which game was that everyone left the field. It was full of energy, setting up, because it was so shocked. It was an important step of the season and everything. So that kind of emotion, we lost all this kind of emotion. So this AC Milan didn't work because football basically is made of emotions. Most of the time, the emotion, the feelings, the things that comes outside the field is like influencing what is happening inside. And when you have like a young team like our team, without leaders that are technical leaders, but not like as a person, as a man, like inside of the spogliatoio area, but they are like typical like leaders, Leao, Teo Hernandez. I don't see them like leadership inside the room. Like, but for example, like Florenzi is the only one leader that we have. He didn't play 1 minute this season, but he's been a leader. But it was not enough. So I hope that now with Allegri that knows that in the field he needs people that help his ideas on the bench. Needs a connection. And with Tare that has a good eyes looking for talents plus even good profiles that can, wear the AC Milan t-shirt without, freezing in front of the stadium, in front of the people, in front of the pressure that the San Siro gives. So I hope that they're gonna build like a new AC Milan with more like solid values in order like to restart for the like the 12,000 like times the restart from the bunker era because we, as you said, like after the Scudetto, why the Milanista is pissed off right now? Not because he spoiled, it's because after that he arrived like to the top again after so many years, like sacrificing everything, even watching like a shitty team, even accepting to be kicked out from the Champions League, from European Cups, to stay outside the cup for 1 year to fix the billings, all the things. So the Milanista accept all. After that, when you come back to be champion in Italy, semi-finalist in the Champions League and everything, you don't accept anymore to come back. And that's why the supporters are like tough. And when the people from AC Milan management or whatever, the team, we have many friends, like they work in that 5 floors of the Aldo Rossi building. And they ask me, but why the supporters are like so tough with us now? It's because they sacrifice a lot to come back to be AC Milan. They don't accept to come back in the banter era. That's all. I guess that's the only one reason they feel like in this case cheated. I guess.
Yeah, I hear you, and
Yeah.
it totally makes sense because you have a bit of that, like you said, the banter era. We were finally out of it, and we always said Milan. I know us growing up because we're similar in age. We used to be the biggest and most well-known club in the world. We were the best at one point. Now Real Madrid certainly passed us, but we were at the top. So yeah, were we spoiled? Yeah, we were spoiled, but we're also a big club. I would understand this mentality if you're a mid-table club. I don't know, like Udinese, a Genoa, a Torino. You're not considered one of the top clubs in the world, so you want to manage the thing in a certain way because you're limited in terms of revenues and all this stuff. But not Milan. Milan is huge. And that's what bothers me because when I look at it from a risk management point of view, like we always heard the narrative, when Elliot took over after the default of Young Hong Lee, they wanted to build a Milan that was sustainable for the long term. And I was all for it. I kept arguing even with many people who said, oh, we should spend and win, and by spending and winning, you grow faster. But I was okay with them doing things incrementally because it needs patience and discipline. And the fans, usually they're not patient and disciplined. They want everything like right now. But I was okay
I
with it. I
know.
said, no,
My followers are the same, my friend. My
yeah.
followers are the same.
Yeah. So you want to be patient, they control spending. I was okay with it. You don't want to be millions in debt like Inter. I was okay with it. But what bothered me is as you get to know how they're working, they're really treating Milan like a business and not a sporting club. And that's where you start seeing some of the mistakes that they made. You want to control the risk and you want to get a good return on your investment, which I kind of understand. But here's the thing I'm having a hard time comprehending what they're doing. Every club has a sporting director or a technical director, and every sporting club has these roles because they need someone who's between the management and the players on the pitch. So if you make that kind of investment to buy a club, how do you go and say, well, no, we're not going to work with a TD or an SD, whatever, or both, depending on the club? They have both of them. And at the same time, how do you also, at the coach level, look for a coach who's a mediocre, low cost coach when you save money with those salaries if you don't hire them, or sorry, you hire a coach that makes a lot of money, it's going to cost you more. I agree. But look at the risk you're taking by now with Milan, what they shot themselves in the foot without being in European competition next year. So all that money they saved trying to be different and trying to be low cost on certain things, now they're out of Champions League. The impact of that is humongous. You always wanted to finish top four to have continuous growth. This is terrible what they did. So I don't get it. How you say you want to manage costs, keep risk low, but you're taking a big risk with those two moves. So I wanted to ask you, where does this crazy idea of working in a committee, the belief that you could obtain the similar results than what most clubs do that don't have this type of committee, and not believe that you're taking a risk while doing it? So you know the people there better than I do. So what is it, Ale? Is it that they're arrogant? Is it their ego? Is it because of they're competent? A bit of everything. Why this working committee to diverge from how clubs are always run in Italy? I don't understand.
I guess that they thought that be top in the other other business that they did and they do, where honestly the numbers of the funds the investigators are all satisfied because in all the section where they work they are satisfying, like all the investors, like they are doing great things. They are improving. They are, buying in a good way, selling in a better way, and all the things like this. But soccer is a different business. First of all, because included a pressure of millions of fans that are like investitor, not investitor. I mean, they are not investors that they don't gain anything if the things go well, but they put money anyway as investor every week, every season, every time they approach to the team, services like TV, stadium, merchandising, all the things. And so they thought probably that they were able to convince us to put ananas on the pizza. The metaphor is like that. Honestly, they imagine like an American that you want to invest in a pizzeria in Italy, goes to Naples, takes a good place. He has the money in the center of Naples. He put like all the best things, best walls, like all the atmosphere, best pizzeria ever, and he's selling just pizza with ananas. He's failing. Like there is no way that he's surviving because ananas is a very good fruit. Pizza is a very good food put together for the Italian taste, because I know that some American they get crazy for that, but from Italian taste, and we are playing in Serie A, we are not playing in American League, doesn't work. That's it. Doesn't work. And so if I had to win the lottery and open with you, like like a barbecue Texan Mexican food in Canada or in America. The first things that I do is taking a cook that is specialized on doing this. He's specialized smoking meat. He's specialized putting the right ribs, herbs on the ribs. I don't call the Napoletano pizza man because it doesn't match with what we have to sell in your country that you're a good taster. So if I cannot screw you up like selling the bad meat. Because if it's not a good barbecue, you kick me out after 2 seconds. You say, what is this shit? It's the same with the soccer here. Like, this is a metaphor like to help our follower to understand the meaning and to make less heavy this kind of argument. But the thing is like this. You need, if you want to buy a sushi, you buy a sushi, you pay a Japanese sushi man, and you do marketing. After, if you are good in marketing, and Americans are very good in marketing because the revenues, even in this shitty season, they are good for the merchandising, all the things like that. They are improving, but it's not enough because it's a soccer team. We cannot be happy to have sponsors. We are happy to have a sponsor if the sponsor help us out to grow up as a team. But in this case, as you said, there is not like you cannot play with the cards like in the station where there is like the people that try to steal your money with the cards, you know, changing the cards quickly and to say where is the ace? Where is the ace? I know. Now AC Milan discover the cards. There is no ace. There is a nine, and this nine is the position in the Champions League, in the championship, you know, and that's not good for MC Milan. So that's why now, without like being against all the decision, but with more eyes on, focus, we see, we judge, we wait, we see what they're gonna produce with the new asset, like with the new team, with the Iglitare, with the and after we will judge. But I think that the Americans, the ownership cannot play any more weird cards. There is no room anymore for this. There is no room for them because otherwise they lose money. There is no room for us like to wait because we cannot come back in the Banter era in just 2 seasons. It's something that we have to avoid because otherwise it's like you know, a spiral that is taking you down, 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 down. The other growth, we slide in the bottom, and that's not acceptable.
I agree with you, and I know it's going to be a silly comparison on my part, but it's just to give a bit of context to our viewers. You look at, let's say, a Manchester United, who on level of prestige and history, I would say is an equivalent to Milan, and they've been having many horrible seasons, and they spend also a lot of money constantly in the transfer market. So I'm hoping we don't fall into that trap like Man United, that once you slip down, it's gonna be hard to climb back up. I'm gonna give this new technical director or sporting director Tare and Allegri, who, like, just the thought of him coming back doesn't excite me whatsoever. And you gave a good analogy. It's like when you're sick and you need to take the antibiotic or the medicine that doesn't taste good. You need it to help you get better. Let's hope. He's not a coach that really brings a lot of enthusiasm, but maybe that's what they need. They need someone who has the experience and has been there. He knows how the club works. He knows how Serie A works, and maybe he'll have a bit of clout, because of his experience. That when he says something, he his voice will carry something. Maybe that was the problem too with Fonseca, who is not at the same level. Maybe he was more timid and he would just be happy with whatever they gave him because it was an honor for him to be our coach, and he'll just be happy just the fact that he is the coach. Maybe with Allegri now there and Tare as well, they both stand up together to say, hey, this is what we need to make the team better. Let's hope that they'll listen to them and not that this is just an illusion to fool the fans who have been protesting to say, this is what we need, this is what we want. And now, okay, let's appease the fans and giving them what they want. An Italian coach, an experienced coach, and a sporting director who's also has many years of experience. I hope they let them do their work. And that was my next question. Will they let them work? Will they have power? Will they have a strong voice and be listened to? Or you think it's an illusion where they still have to always go back to Furlani and Ibra to consult with them on everything and get their approval on every decision? What do you see as the dynamic between these two new hires and the three stooges, which I like to call them, Ibra, Furlani, and Moncada, that have to support them now?
One of the problem of the gruppo di lavoro was like not having the know-how to know the timing, the right timing for the things. Also, another metaphor, like the farmer. The farmer knows how to prepare the field, knows when there is the day to put the seeds into the ground, how many times in the week he needs to put the water, when he needs to put nutrition, when he needs to take the fruit, when they're not ready, when they're ready. Because there is a timing. You cannot change the things because the nature, the sun, the seasons push you to follow the calendar. The soccer is the same. The transfer market is the same. The choosing of the director is the same. The choosing of the coach is the same. You cannot do like the team without the DS, without the director sportive, without the coach. How you can prepare the menu if you don't know which restaurant are you opening, if you don't know which is the cook, if you don't know which is the cuisine that you need to do. So we will understand that everything is getting better. We will understand that they will have like the freedom to move and to do the things, the steps, without too much like bureaucracy behind. Now with the transfer like market situation, we will understand how fast we're gonna be. Because I always say that one of the players that wear like our T-shirt lately in banter era, but honoring the T-shirt, the jersey, has been Jack Bonaventura. Jack Bonaventura arrived to Milan in this way. In the afternoon, he met Inter. In the afternoon late, Marino called Galliani to open the chance because Inter was not like pushing, you know. Galliani, 2 minutes, he called them like to Casa Milan. He signed Bonaventura. With this management, or I mean, with the management that we had last season, we could not have Bonaventura in Milan. The same situation with the different management, never, because Ibrahimovic or Moncada had to call Furlani to plan the costs, the commissions, all the things, the details, thinking, sending like a pack email to United States, get the approval, sharing, blah, blah, blah. Bonaventura was already gone. So soccer needs to be focused and very quick. Allegri arrived because Tare moved first. Otherwise, Allegri now probably was like in Inter, and we were like waiting and doing the casting without no profiles. So we anticipated the things. We did right. So this is a good sign for the changing of approach. Of course, to be sure that this is happening and they understood the way that you need to manage, we need to wait at the end of the transfer market. We need to wait to see which player is gonna arrive. If it's not the second choice because the first one is chosen from another one, we need to understand. We need to give them time. I tell you, without any kind of bad approach, but paying attention because they cannot screw up anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I noticed as well, like you were talking about with the delays and all that, it's also lack of experience because I'm not a big fan of calcio mercato. I find it very, I don't know what's the right word, annoying, tedious. You know, like with the daily rumors you hear every day, this player's gonna
Yeah,
come, that player. That's like it's very. I like to just wait when my Milan announces something, then I'll talk. But till Milan announces something, I know most cases some of the rumors end up coming true depending on the source. But overall, it's not something I'm a big fan of. But I do understand it that it is very complex. You have four parties that have to do a transaction. You have the buying team, you have the selling team, you have the player, and the agent. All four need to come to an agreement before a transfer will take place. So, given that complexity of dealing with all these parties and understanding what a player is really worth, how to convince a player to come to your team, how to convince an agent that the project is good and all that, you need someone that has experience in that domain. Same like you were saying earlier, if you open a restaurant, you need the chef that knows how to make the meal or the farmer that knows how to prepare the crops. So it's just mind boggling, even for that. And that's another reason why our calcio mercato hasn't been very good either. We never really had someone that knows how this all works. And also, when it comes to selling players, just a thing on the side, Milan has never been very good at selling players. And now there's a lot of debate with Tijani. Should we sell him? Should we not? I see both sides of the argument. I get why Milan would want to sell him when you get certain offers that arrive. You don't know if you will get better. So there's guaranteed money coming in. And I see why they would want to monetize. Because if Milan would say no, just hypothetically, what do you do? If Tijani wants to leave and you tell him, no, no, you're important to us, you have to stay. Will he perform the same like he did last year? We don't know. Then will he stay just till the end of his contract and then you lose him on a free transfer? That's also a risk. And Milan we saw with Kessi, we saw with Chanaloglu, we saw with Donnarumma. We lost 3 players on free transfers because we were never able to renew them. So that's where I see the flip side to the argument. You want to keep him because you want to make the team better and you want to add to the roster. But on the flip side, there's a monetization issue and there's also the player. If the player really wants to leave, do you keep a disgruntled player on your roster? So for me, there's no right answer for this. It's just a matter of knowing what is the truth. And we'll
No, no,
never
my
really
friend.
know. Sorry for cutting you off. We will never really know. Is it Milan that pushed Tijani to sell and leave? And then Tijani felt hurt because he just renewed in March? Or did this Man City offer come? I'm sure the agent spoke to him prior. I don't believe the offer was right now. I'm sure already the agents, they don't. Oh, yeah, this is just another thing on the side. In North America, Ale, we have a rule for tampering. That means a team cannot approach a player or an agent without getting permission from the other team first. In Italy, I know you guys, that the rule doesn't exist. A player's under contract and agents still go talk to other teams and no one follows the rules. Yeah.
Honestly, the rules are the same. It's like that here they avoid with intermediary like people like sending signs and everything. That's why I want to respond. Like I want to answer to your question. Tijani got the approach of City plus Real Madrid time ago because sometimes during the season the people doesn't give a shit about some tweets, but I wrote that cities like manager were like at San Siro 3 times to see Tijani Reinders, you know, and this is before the renewal of the contract. So sorry, the things is I okay. The thing is, if Tijani had in his mind to leave AC Milan, he had the chance to not renew the contract. He had already a contract, not renew the contract, wait for the end of the season and asking AC Milan to sell him. Doesn't match with the information that I have. So I know that it's easy to let pass the idea that Tijani wanted to go. Of course, he's not going to Afghanistan. He's not going to Gaza. He's not going on the war. He's going to Manchester. That is not beautiful as Milan. Is rainy, but with the double of the millions, I mean, you can find the sun by yourself. It doesn't matter. I mean, where you are. But say, and of course, he's going to say when he's going to be introduced to the Manchester City's fan, no, I'm very glad to be here in Premier League, blah, blah, blah. What they supposed to say? Oh, I want to stay AC Milan. I don't give a shit to come here in England, but they push me to do it. I have to suffer gaining 8 million a season. No, it's not going to happen. Of course, the people could play the game to say, oh, you see, the player wanted to go. No, Rangers didn't want to go. Plus, take your responsibility of the things that you do. Don't change the cards on the table. So you wanted to sell. You think that 55 plus bonus is enough? You think that was a good idea to sell your best player? Do you think that your best player could be paid from Manchester City as the last player of the Premier League that they bought in the other transfer market session? Because 50 for a player that is the best Serie A player, the best midfielder, you pay as much as you pay for the defender that is not even in the first 11 list of your players doesn't match, doesn't really match in the logic. You want to do it because for you the balance of the statement is better, is more important than the field. Say it. Say it. The only one thing that I ask, don't do in front of the camera, don't go in front of the camera to say we don't have the need to sell anyone. Because if you sell, means that you don't have the need you want. So in the need, I can understand, you know, as much the son understand when the father say, I cannot buy you the toy for your birthday because I'm being fired. In the need, the kid could understand that there is no toy because there is no job. But if you have money in your pocket and you don't buy the toy to your son, but you go to spend to the bingo your money that you gain, you're not a good father. I mean, this is another metaphor to say the need and the willing of doing the things. So that's why the people is worried, because after the Furlani's word, we don't have the needs, they did it. This is like a kind of electric like problem.
Well, I think he said what he said because at the time it was more to reassure the fans. They were all under shock that we have no European competition the next season. So automatically fans would think, oh, we're going to sell all our players. So maybe on a technical, I'm not defending him, by the way. I'm just trying to get the nuance of what he said. On a technical level, just looking at it from the financials, perhaps yes, Milan didn't need to sell anyone because they were profitable the past 2 years. And according to FFP, you could sustain losses up to 60 million in a 3-year range. So, on a technical basis, I think he was saying the truth that we don't need to sell. However, when you say that and then you do sell, it's only normal fans are going to question what you said earlier. Did they sell because they really need to sell, or it's an opportunity they evaluated and they said, oh, we can't pass this up? And that's where I agree with you in terms of a bit of a contradiction. And I was hoping with Tare there, he would know that what they buy at in the Prem, players who are not even starters, and sometimes in those price ranges, how can Serie A's best midfielder not be sold for a lot more? That's where I'm a bit perplexed. What was the rush to sell him so quickly? Could they have waited, dragged it on, do a bidding war? You know, that's where I question a little bit the value. I'm not an expert in these things. It's easy for me to say 70 million is not enough for Tijani, but considering it's the Prem and you're selling your best player, I think they probably could have gone more. Like, do you know, like Calafiori, what they got, Zirkzee? These are just recent examples of Serie A players that left. None of them were considered their best at their position, and they were in that 50 million range. If I don't know, like if you know the number, what it was, but for sure, Tijani, you would try to sell him for more. Maybe Milan did. Maybe Man City knows. No, you're never gonna get more than 50 plus bonus for him. And Milan was like, better to get this now, it's concrete and it's in the books, rather than risk getting nothing later on. Who knows? We'll never know. But I
Yeah,
do
but
question the value that we see. Why didn't they see it to push for more? That's a bit of a
But
strange
I think
phenomenon.
I think that the most important thing is to understand which risk is more important for them, because if the risk to don't have like the numbers on balance are like getting more attention than the risk to have another season like the last one, you know what? If you had like if you say to people, trust us, keep calm, trust us, keep calm, we know what we are doing, keep calm, we are know what to do. And after you have like a season like the last one, you need to say sorry, 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 we got wrong, sorry, we need to restart, sorry, we understood our mistake impacted into the economical side, and this is not making us happy, but is our fault. So, sorry, sorry, SORRI, sorry, we take the money from our pockets. We don't take one piece of your heart that is already bleeding. And Reinders was like a piece of the heart in this season. He's been the only one that was caring about the jersey. You
Well, I
know?
would say him and Pulisic were the ones that
Yeah.
really cared.
Okay. Okay. So you don't put hands on the bleeding heart to take another piece off. That's basically what I mean. If their life's so tough to say, let's take Reinders, we don't care about the sentiment. I'm afraid that they probably didn't understand that they were wrong. Just a bit embarrassed in front of the camera, but not really convinced that they were wrong. So that's why we need just to wait. We need to wait the other steps because the transfer market has to be judged at the end. You cannot judge the quality of the house when they are building. Because if you go and you see like that they are working, the workers like with the dust, with all the things, no windows, you say, what's going on? But the end, the house has to be beautiful, solid, well done, safe, and all the things.
So let's go back to what you just said, which ties into my next question. You said they never said sorry. I agree with you. And they show time and time again that they don't care about the fans. And if they did, they would have reacted differently on a lot of different things during the season. However, I was impressed with that protest they did at Casa Milan. It was very well done. The points were made loud and clear. The whole world knows about the thing. But since you're there, at the same time, I would say I'm very disappointed with the fans that are in Milano. We're in Montreal. I can't go there to protest. But the protest, would you say, would have been more effective if they were done earlier? Number one. The second part, would they have been more effective if they didn't do it wishy washy? Sometimes they go to the stadium, they cheer for the team. Sometimes they leave. Sometimes they say they're going to protest or for a bit and then they go and cheer. Sometimes they say, oh, we're not going to go and buy tickets. And then sometimes they buy tickets. Like, I don't know if you know the people that are in charge of Curva Sud and the fans that are organized groups to protest. Why do you think they were so inconsistent in how they wanted to approach their protests and send clear messages to the ownership that they're mad? And yet at the same time, they showed sometimes the opposite. Like, I have a hard time understanding their inconsistency. How would you explain it?
But first of all, you needed to consider that Curva Sud Directivo, I mean, the guys that they were like composing like the group is like got involved into the investigations, all the things that they were like crossing the soccer interest and everything. So there is like people that is in the jail, people is like under control, the violence, the selling of products, the many things. So of course, having like the highs of the all the institution, you know, and to be in the didn't help them like to be free, even with the banners. They could not get into the stadium with the banners to say Cardinale go away. They could not do anything about that. In the meantime, I think that you say why it's too late. When you know how to cook the frogs. You know frogs. You don't eat frogs in America. Okay, in the north of Italy, we cook the frogs from the lake.
Are you
Okay.
serious or you're like joking with me now? You're
No, no,
serious.
no.
You're serious. Okay. I never heard of this. Sorry. Sorry, my
No, no, no,
ignorance.
no. It's like it's serious.
How
Like
do you call that in
when you go,
Italian?
what?
What do you call that in Italian, cooking of the frogs?
No, it's like frogs, rane. There are like many dishes. Like you can cook like a boiled. You can cook in the sauce. You
No,
can.
I wanted to
I'm
know
gonna
the name of it in Italian. What's it called?
rane.
Okay, I learned something new. I never heard of this.
So when you will come to Milan, I'm gonna take you to the restaurant to this. But
Okay. All
the
right.
thing is like you know the thing is that if you need to cook the frogs, it's like when you cook like aragos, and you put on the water, boiling water, you know, because it's big. With a frog, you cannot do it because if you put it, if you drop it when it's boiling, the frog is feeling the heat and is jumping outside. You know, follow my follow my crazy thought. To cook the frog, you put in the water with a cold water. You turn on the fire very slow, and the temperature of the water is growing up step by step slowly, and this is like getting the frogs tired. When they understood that is hot, they are so tired they cannot jump anymore. So the supporter of AC Milan trust several steps all the time, as you said, the statement, avoiding the commission, things with the transfer market. We spoke about the transfer market commission. That is something is like a cancer that we need to beat because it's increasing the cost. So we explained to our followers all the things. So we were the boiling water that was like getting hotter and hotter step by step. So when we arrived to the end, we didn't find in our hands anymore. We understood it was too late. That's why you say why you waited so long, because we had like the trust in different like points of the way to manage these like 2 seasons, the Redbird season, having good vibes and good numbers from the partnership, the sponsorship, the improving the enlarging of the territories. Like everything was exciting, and you know we didn't have like the reason to be immediately tough, immediately like straight to say immediately go away, like the curva should say now, go away, you know? Now you say it's too late. never is never too late. It's too late for the for what we did this season, for the targets that we supposed to get, the qualification and blah blah blah. That is, of course, is too late. But if they understood that they were wrong with the Tare, with Allegri, and with the right intention to invest the money, even if you need to change most of the players, okay. Otherwise, the risk, you said that the water is still boiling and it's too late to jump out from the pot. And that's the thing that I don't want to wish to our lovable Milan, because we love these colors, we love this team, we love everything. We get crazy, we got pissed, but it's because the reaction, how as much as you get pissed, as much is the love that you put on the table for the club. Because otherwise, when you don't care, you change channel. If you don't like what you see on TV, you change channel. If you get pissed against the TV, is because you care about what is going on TV. That's the last metaphoric like picture that I do.
Yeah. Thanks. Now I'm gonna have an image tonight when I go home to eat of boiling water with a frog in it. That's crazy. So one thing you mentioned, and I had a nice debate about this as well with a friend the other day. When Milan plays, I always want them to win, no matter what. Even during banter era, there were many players I did not like, but I never wished a player to get hurt. I never wished a player to play poorly so he could get benched. And I can never cheer for Milan to lose just because it'll suit my agenda or an objective. And we saw now, and I saw it even in my own Milan Club Montreal, we have some of our members who were wishing Milan lose because it would be the only way that a message can be sent to the management that the season was a failure. So some are happy we lost Coppa Italia because had we won, they would have said, bah, we won Coppa Italia, we won Supercoppa, Champions League and Serie A, we didn't do as well, but at least we have Europa League next year and we hope we're going to do better. Now, no alibis, my friend. Now you're really in trouble. So while I was sad we lost the Coppa Italia, I would have loved to win it. I can understand why there's some fans that were happy that we lost. Not because we lost on the field, because of the consequences as a message that could be passed on. But I can never agree to that. I don't know how you feel. I want to get your opinion. Me, when Milan plays, they always have to win. I cannot, it's against my heart and my principles to wish that Milan loses a game. I can't do it.
No, but even because it's a stupid analogy, like to say if they are getting worse, they are leaving. They are not leaving. If the point is that they don't care about what is going on when we play, why they should leave? Why they should leave the all the millions that they invest buying to do like the plus when they're gonna sell? They are waiting for the stadium. They want to do like you know uh, they got like the money to put in the pocket to say to the investors, you waited 5 years, but here we go. That's the money. So if the point is to make money for them, and we see the money going away selling renders, because if you don't get to the Champions League, they sell renders. If you don't get to the Europa League, they sell like Teo Hernandez. If you don't get to to the winning of the Coppa Italia, they sell Magnan. So I mean, honestly, I never was hoping that the Milan was losing. The only one thing that I can accept, the only one thing, is the failing of AC Milan. The failing, the total one, that you start to work to play in Serie D, you know? Because I know that for the love that I have for the team, for the love that I have for the jersey, I will be there in the little stadium where we could play against not professional teams, because I'm going to be there for sure. And for sure, the people that has interest on AC Milan, that are not love, but money interested or other kind of interest, they're going to disappear in a second. You know, like the clouds in a raining, stormy day, like they are going away and the sun is coming. No money, no Champions League, no Serie A, nothing, no prestige, but they come back to the roots. Sorry for the camera. That's why when you buy the Chinese product on Temu, that's why what is going on. And so I prefer to share like a stadium with me and you, other few friends, and the Milan T-shirt, like running on the field instead of all the bullshit that this new soccer with a lot of interest around is like having. Because sometimes, you know, you cannot speak openly, you cannot because when the people answer to you, you need just to think. He has interested to do to say things like this or not? Yes, not. Yes, not. Yes, not. Is reliable? Not. Yes, not. Yes. And this is fucking tiring.
Yeah, I
Tiring.
totally understand you. So anyway, it's good that you touched on the stadium. That'll be a long talk for another time, but we hope this will get settled. How long has it been? It's 20 years, Ale. They're talking about a stadium. I'm so fed up. So we'll not get into it because we could talk an hour easily about the stadium. I'm just hoping it will get resolved sometime soon. And so I'd just like to end it like this. Thanks again for coming on. Nice chatting with you again, my good friend. And as much as we were disappointed with the season, we bleed red and black, and Milan is always in our heart, no matter what. And even though we were very, very saddened by the season, we hope you have to have hope in life. If you have no hope, what's the point? And let's see if they can turn things around. I'll give them the benefit of getting the opportunity to turn things around. And we'll see from there. I'm a bit skeptical. I'm not expecting miracles, but let's just hope and always Forza Milan.
I have already the thumbnail of your live. Put the frog. Put the frog.
Yeah, boiling frog from Milano. I should put a recipe. I'm gonna put a recipe too. Too funny.
Okay.
All right.
I
Ciao,
love you, my
Ale.
friend. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah.
And I hope that my English was clear enough for
Oh,
your
for sure.
followers
We heard you well.
to understand the meaning of the words, because sometimes the argument
Yeah.
is like important. I don't want to give a bad message. You know how we love AC Milan.
Yeah.
It's important. It's also important because the last match with Monza, I post something that I really didn't really like, but not for the fans that they were there on the third like side of San Siro from Denmark, that they were standing like Ale, 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 very happy mood. And I said that that's not what we needed to follow, because they were using those supporters to say, you see, there is not like a protest, it's not that strong. No, because a lot of people from all over around the world, like you from Canada, from New York, from other countries, they are really pissed. And if the Denmark, like friends, they are happy, they want to do the cheerleaders, smiling even if they are like in front of the bad things going on in the season. They are free to do it. They are not like a second choice of supporters, but for sure, they don't represent the happiness of the supporters, because the AC Milan supporters at the moment, they are not happy at all.
Yeah.
That's what we need to make it clear, because I know that our like lives, even the live of the protest that I did like on X for all of you around the world, that you could not be in front of Casamina, is being made to satisfy your willing of protesting, because you could not get here, but you were here with the heart, and I'm sure that the AC Milan needs to listen what the clubs all over the world says, and they are not happy at all.
Yeah. So anyway, let's hope for a nice summer mercato and a good season next year. And we'll talk soon. So I'll just stay in the background, all right? Ovunque sempre, Forza Milan, let's go.